All right, guys, Unit 6, Lesson 3, last lesson here. We're feeling good about Unit 6 so far, right? Somewhat. Today is the law of cosines. All right, I'm going to label a triangle for you. So guys, what we were doing last time, the law of sines of the ambiguous case, finding, 0, 1, or 2 triangles, all of that stuff, that only applies if it's an ASS situation, okay? Side, angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, 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 like all those other ways you know to prove triangles congruent. You don't have to do any of that checking for the height and could there be a rope that's moving. None of that. That's only if it's an ASS problem, okay? I just want to make sure you're not doing more work than you need to on problems that have nothing to do with moving parts of triangles, okay? Law of cosines. There is no ambiguous case. There's nothing weird. It's just, here's the formula, find the missing part. Like, that's all law of cosines is. So I'm going to jot down 3 versions of the formula, just depending on what values you're given. So little a squared equals little b squared plus little c squared minus 2 side b, side c, cosine of angle A. That is the law of cosines. So you're always going to have to deal with all 3 sides, but only one angle. You'll notice the angle you're dealing with, the matching side, is on the other side of the equal sign. So if I start with little b squared, what do you guys think that's going to equal? Exactly. So once you know one of these, you know all of them. Okay, and then your last one, what if we start with side c squared? What's that going to equal? What do you think, guys?
A squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine angle c.
Perfect. Okay, so those are your law of cosines formulas. All right, guys, so we're solving again for all the missing parts. We're still going to round 3 decimal places today, okay? Again, I know on MathSpace it changes question to question what you're rounding to. All right, you are given angle A is 47 degrees. Side C is 18. Side B is 11. Yeah, definitely get out your calculator. Draw a picture. No rainbows or anything this time. You can just put the angles where you want, and then the sides go across from them. So I'm going to put A down here. So do you guys see how this is side angle side? Like we have two sides and an angle, but it's not an ASS problem. You guys see it? You can look at the picture once you've labeled it. It's clearly side, angle, side. Or remember, your angle doesn't match any of the sides given, so it's not an angle side problem. It's not an ASS, okay? You use law of cosines when it's side, angle, side. If you forget, if you're like, gosh, I don't know when to use law of sines and when to use law of cosines, you don't need to write this down, but try doing law of sines, and I think you'll see right away why it doesn't work. I'd set up sine of 47 over A equals sine of B over 11. Yeah, you don't have a pair. You've got too many unknowns here. There's no way you can set it up where you only have one variable in the equation. So we cannot use law of sines. So we will use law of cosines. Which formula do you think we're going to use here? Yeah, the first one, the one with the A in it, since we have angle A. So I'm going to have A squared equals 11 squared plus 18 squared minus 2 times 11 times 18 times the cosine of 47. Okay, let me just walk you through keying this in on your calculator. Please do not do like 11 squared and write it down, and 18 squared and write it down. Like, don't do that. I want you to show like your initial setup, like write out your equation. But you shouldn't really be writing anything else down on this one, like you're just going to key it all in. So we would do 11 squared plus 18 squared minus 2 times 11 times 18 times cosine of 47. Is that side A?
No.
No. What is that? Yeah, it's A squared. So what I can do is take the square root of the answer. So I'm going to push the square root, so second x squared. And then do you guys see above the negative key there in blue where it says answer? If you do second negative key, that will bring your answer from up above down under your radical, okay? So 13.226. Here's your answer. Anybody calculator troubles? That's the simple answer, okay? All right, guys, we're going to need this answer in the rest of the problem, so what should I do with it? Store it as, I'm going to go with A, yeah, store as A. Okay, let me jot it down. So we are finding little a, angle B, angle C. So that was what, 13.226? Okay. All right. Now that you know every side, some of you might be tempted to switch back to law of sines. I would say use caution if you decide to do that. I would recommend if the problem starts in law of cosines, just do the whole thing as law of cosines. The reason being, if you use law of sines, it will never give you an obtuse angle. Okay, so if one of these angles, which angle C potentially could be the obtuse angle, if you find that next with law of sines, if it's obtuse, you're going to get the wrong answer. Remember, inverse sine only gives you answers on this side of the circle from -90 to +90. Okay? So it will never give you an angle over here. So you have to know that it's obtuse to know that you need to find the supplement of it. You can find the smaller angle first if you're aware of that. If this all sounds really confusing and you're like, I'm not really sure I get it, do law of cosines the whole way through your problem, okay? Don't want you to find the wrong angle. So let's go through it with law of cosines. I'm going to find angle B next just because alphabetically that's what I'm going to find. So let's think about what this equation looks like for B. It'd be B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of angle B. So algebraically, how do I solve that for angle B? How do I get all the other stuff on the other side? Max, what do you think?
You like subtract and divide this stuff and then do inverse cosine.
Perfect. You subtract and divide the stuff. Yes, so B squared, you would subtract the A squared and subtract the C squared. You would divide by -2AC. That gives you cosine of B. So on your calculator, you would need to do inverse cosine of that big fraction, that B squared minus A squared minus C squared all over -2AC. So I'll pull up my calculator and we'll look at keying that in. So inverse cosine, I'm going to use the fraction key. You don't have to. Let's see, so B was 11, so 11 squared minus A we stored, so alpha A squared minus 18 squared all over -2 times that stored A times 18, not 188. Are you getting 37.464? Okay, if your calculator is not liking you right now, let me know. I'll come help. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay. Anybody else not agreeing with their cosmos? You're not scoring. Okay, so now if I want to do it again.
That's really like just let it
So now when you go to type so get it in the happy story back here. All right. Okay, so this was angle B. I'm going to store it as B just for easier to key in to find the other angle. So store B. All right, so B was 37.464 degrees. How do I find angle C? Yeah.
Add angle A and B, and then you subtract that value from B.
Yep. So I'm just going to write 180 minus the 47 minus that B that I stored. So I'll put back here 180 minus 7 minus B. All right, are you getting your 95.536? Alexa? Did I look at the wrong one? Wasn't the angle 47 to start with?
No, we use 37.
Which is what, so I did stored B. I think 47 is what was given. Okay. Let me come look. So remember your angle. Yeah. We store so many different things. Okay, 95.536. 0.536. All right, guys, questions on that one? Let's try another one. This time I'm going to give you all three sides. I'm going to say side A is 5, side B is 12, and side C is 13. I'm sorry, side C is 8. This is not a Pythagorean triple. Yeah, it would have made it easy. All right, I want you guys to try this one on your own. You've got all three sides, so that's the other law of cosines case, is side, side, side. Start with whatever angle you would like to start with. Give you a few minutes to try.
What's your
I just oh yeah, no, you're right. I just
you're finding C right now. Just type it in everything you've tried. You guys get it? You have a calculator? Yeah.
You get 17, 16.
Yeah, so you have All right, guys, I'm going to jot them down. Angle A was 17.612 degrees. B is 133.433. And C is 28.955. Guys, a big part of this is just keeping yourself organized and making sure you know which side you're solving for or which angle you're solving for as you go throughout the problem. All right, questions on law of cosines. Those are the two cases where it'll come up, side angle side and side side side. That's it for law of cosines, okay? We're also going to do area. I know you've done area in geometry, but we're going to look at it a couple of different ways here. So. Draw a triangle. I don't know why I switched my A and B, but I did. So this is how I'm labeling my triangle this time. Okay, back in geometry, how would you find area of a triangle? What would you guys do?
It's kind of like base.
Okay, half base times height, right? So let's look at that with what we know about law of sines, law of cosines, all that stuff. Sketch in the height. Let's think about how we would find height. How could I do that? Back to SOHCAHTOA stuff, guys. Okay. So that's the same as A times sine of B equals H, right? So let's go back to our basic geometry formula here. We know area equals 1/2. Well, what's the base in my triangle here? C. And then we just said height is A times sine of B. Does that make sense? I'm just replacing the height with the formula you'd actually use to solve it. Okay? So we can write this formula with any of the angles. So we can have area equals 1/2, and I'll call this one A times C, the one we just did, sine of angle B. So the two sides are not the angle that I use in the formula. So what's another way I could write this? 1/2 what? How could I manipulate? AB sine of C, perfect. And what about the last one?
BC sine of A.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so that's one way you can find area, and that's if you're given side angle side. Okay, you can see you've got two sides and the included angle in your formula there. Sometimes you'll have to use law of sines or law of cosines to find a missing part of your triangle to actually do the area formula. And this way you've got them written out. No matter which pieces you're given, you should be able to find it. There is another area formula. This one's completely new to you. It is called Heron's formula. This is if you're given all three sides of a triangle. Okay, side, side, side. Jeff, you want to put your phone away? All right, area is equal to the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. Now you know that A, B, and C are the sides of your triangle. S is the semi-perimeter. What do you think semi-perimeter is?
Half.
Half the perimeter, yes. So you could add up all three sides, half of it is S. And then you're just plugging it into the formula and you get your area. Okay, so if you're given all three sides, use this formula instead of the ones we talked about up above. All right, so let's try a couple of area problems here. So find the area. We've got angle C is 52 degrees. Side A is 11. Side B is 27. So guys, what do you think? Do you think that's a Heron's formula or the other area formula problem? Yeah, that first one, right? So that is a side angle side problem. Go ahead and round your area to 3 decimal places again. Check with your neighbors, see if you guys agree.
It goes here, 118.597.
117.
All right, guys, what do you think? What's the area? Good, 117.020. Try keying that in again. Guys, I will tell you the most common mistake on this is that people forget if it's sine or cosine in the formula, and we'll use the wrong trig function. That's how people tend to miss these. Otherwise, they're really pretty straightforward. You're going to feel more. Let's see. Let's try another area problem. Side A is 12. Did you get it that time?
Yeah, I just think I should use it away.
Oh, okay. How'd you type it in?
Well, the first time I put the 1 after the parentheses.
It should still work. All right, guys, there's your next one. Try that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And really, that's like, this unit's not hard, but like things like that can happen.
Keep doing that, and like, and that's what's gonna mess me up.
Everybody see this as the side one? Heron's formula. Find your S first. . You could certainly type in the 28 each time then if you wanted for the formula. You could store it as S and use that. Check with your neighbors. Do you agree? All right, what did we get?
94.657.
Yes, 94.657. That is your area.
I don't know.
Wait, yours is off again?
No, mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, dear. Oh, goodness. All right, guys, questions on that area one? It's pretty straightforward. It's just make sure you're using the right formula and plugging things in. Don't mistype something in your calculator, that sort of thing, okay? All right, guys, before you start on your math base, I just want to talk a little bit about your test next week because it is all on math base. You will be given a sheet of paper, like scratch paper, but it'll have little boxes for each question. Even though it's all on math base, I need you to show your setup for each problem going through on the math base. Okay? If you don't show me anything, you're not going to get credit for the math base. Okay? I think it's 18 questions long. You have an hour for it. You have your calculator for the whole thing. Okay? So you should be fine, but just make sure you're showing me work. And I'm hoping that writing some of that down, like me making you write it down, will eliminate some of those little errors where, you mistype and things like that.
Do we get formulas?
You do not. You have to know your formulas for this one. Don't you know them already? I think you know them. Even the ones from today, I think you probably already almost know them. All right, guys, so you've got oodles of time here to work on your math base. Go back and do any of those second attempts if you need them. The Delta Math is up now for you already as well.
So you'll be here on Friday.
Yes.
And we'll be doing the fake quiz.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, guys, Friday will be your fake quiz. Next week, Tuesday is just a work day. You can work on Delta Math, second attempts, practice from what's on Schoology, all of that. And then Thursday next week is your test. Okay?